if they expect me to walk away from Luton with nothing, I'll make very sure there's nothing to walk away from.
Hello and welcome to the Oak Road Hatter podcast. I'm Billy Mully, today joined by Jamie Castle following yesterday's 3-1 defeat at Aston Villa. Jamie, how are you getting on, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Weird it being a Monday after a Sunday game. Sort of, you're used to it being a day off after a football game, but no, back to work today was a bit of a sore one. Not the best away day, I should say. Aston Villa away, not just because of the result, but because of the bits around it. There was no away pub, no beer on the ground, so it was a bit of a dry occasional round, especially with the dry home atmosphere as well. But tick that one off. So,
and they wouldn't give us the ball back, would they? They were just keeping it by themselves.
Yeah, it was like this year 7 v year 10 complex, wasn't it?
Well, before we get started today, we can finally announce our big giveaway that we've been talking about for the last few weeks. The prize available to our lucky winner comes in 3 parts. There are 3 lots of prints from Matthew J. Wood. If you haven't seen his prints, we'll make sure to tag him and his artwork into our tweet announcing this fully. So that's 3 pieces of artwork from him. We've also got one 23-24 Luton Town shirt. You can choose the size, you can choose which one you want. And then we've also got the Championship Playoff Final CFAX mug. 3 really, really good prizes there. 1 lucky winner. And to enter, make sure to subscribe to Oak Road Hatter on YouTube. Share or retweet this post when we put it out on the different socials. And tag 3 people in the comments for an extra entry. I think this is probably the best giveaway we've done yet, Jamie. Glad that we can do it. And who knows who can win. Hopefully it's we hope it's a Luton fan. We don't want it to go to a randomer.
No, for sure. And who knows, you might try and do something to make sure it goes to a Luton fan. I'm not going to disclose that, but yeah, I think the fact that they're Luton related giveaways, it's got to be a Luton fan, really, isn't it?
Yes, it has to be. I can't imagine that Watford fan wins it. That would be the end of us. That would be the end of Oak Road Hat. We had a good run. Well, we'll go straight in today with 2 good, 2 bad following yesterday's defeat at Villa Park. And the way we're going to start it off is the ones from Twitter. We had 2 on Twitter. One from LTFC Dave, who said we did well to stay in the game when it looked like it could be embarrassing. We got through the game without any more injuries, which, Jamie, it's a real positive at the moment, given particularly the back line, the fact that we can go through 90 minutes and not add another player to that growing injury list.
Yeah, I can't lie. I was really nervous when I saw Osho on the team sheet. I was delighted because I think he deserves to play Premier League football, and he's a fantastic player, and I think will be fantastic for us this season. But just that niggling fear that it could be too soon, he could pull up, and then we'll lose him as well. And I think you probably don't risk someone so vital to you in terms of a centre half in the game away at Villa, where you've got a small chance of getting a result from. So really happy for him to come through it. albeit only 60 minutes, but played well, and most important thing, came through it with no injury as far as we were aware of, no flare up of any sort of muscles. So touch wood, he's fit and raring to go for Liverpool at home.
And going on to the two negative aspects of the performance from LTFC, Dave, very tepid performance, didn't expect a result, but felt we made it far too easy for Villa. And then the second one, attacking play was poor until Villa eased off. Going on to L, also on Twitter, good that it was only -2 goal difference. And the other positive element that we're still only 1 point off Bournemouth. Both have very tough games coming up. And his negatives, no shots on target and only taken the lead one game this season. Funnily enough, that was our only win. We'll go first, Jamie. -2 goal difference doesn't seem too bad considering what we spoke about Villa in the preview, how dominant they've been at home, how relentless they have been going forward. To limit them to only beating us by 2 goals, and when you probably consider how the game played out, that has to be a positive.
Yeah, a big win. I mean, they went 3-0 up with half hour to go, or something like that. So at that point, I'm thinking, please don't let it be 4-5-6, which it could have been. And Rob said in his post-match press conference that it's really important that they instill a philosophy and a strategy to not go under, because we're already 10 games in, and what are we on now? Minus 11 goal difference, but you've got Sheffield United on -22. I think Burnley's on something like -17. And okay, you're getting into the real detail there of goal difference, but that's what it could come down to. So it's really important in those moments to not go under and lose by 4s and 5s. A positive to get one back and make it -2, but at 3-0, there was calls to sort of put them under pressure and go for it. But it's like you're not going to get a point back from 3-0 down. So why risk it and lose 4s and 5s? Like with 15 to go, I'm like, Martinez, just stand on the ball in your own box, please, and just like sort of see the game out. Because that for me is what it comes down to. I don't want to be regretting next May that in October last year we pressed Villa too hard and conceded 2 more goals and then go down by one goal difference. You just don't want that to happen. So I appreciate, as fans, we're ambitious and we really want to show what we can do, but I think there's just a time and a place, and 3-0 down away at Villa with half hour to go is certainly not the time nor the place, given that they're now 12 straight home league wins.
And going back to L, his his first bad point was there was no shots on target. Do you think we created as much as you would have thought? Do you think that I think we all expected the game to play out the way it did in terms of Villa having lots of possession, us having to be patient and then break? Did you think we'd see a bit more joy? Did you think we'd create more to test Villa, given that they have conceded a fair few goals at home and away, but we also know the massive threat they are going forward?
I think a lot of it is game state. I think at 0-0, I think first 10 minutes they obviously got through with the RB on their right, our left quite easily, and that caused a switch of Mengi and Osho in that back three. After that, we certainly got a bit tighter and didn't give away too much. And then going forwards, there was a bit of joy on transition, but it was just that final ball, final pass that didn't really create anything statistically down as a chance. But I think there's still positives in the fact that we're winning the ball back and trying to transition up the field. Do I want us to see us create more? Absolutely. Should we create more, or do we need to create more to get results in this league? Absolutely. But there's also you've got to recognise the fact that Aston Villa at home are phenomenal at the minute. 12 home straight league wins. They're 5th in the league for a reason. And yeah, they're 5th, but what are they, 22 points from 10 games? Now, if you're getting 2.2 points per game in the Premier League, you're doing something right. And you can't lose that context from what we're saying here. If it was a Burnley away or a Sheffield United away, 100%, I think you can not slate the players for not creating chances, but you can certainly sort of add a bit more critique to that. But Villa away, they've got a great back four. They've got Pau Torres and Konza. I think Konza should be getting in the England side. Pau Torres was playing for a good side in Spain like last year. They've got two great midfielders. Kamara was at Marseille in Liga. Douglas Luiz has played at this level for a few years now. Like, we're not going to play free flowing, and we're not going to create a lot of chances against sides like that. What for me is a bigger concern is converting the chances that we do have. You got Carlton Morris now, who hasn't scored for a while, certainly from open play, and I think the one or two chances that he has had over the course of the last few weeks, he's not made enough of, and that for me would be the bigger concern, rather than the not creating chances, because we're not going to create 2-3 xG away from home at Aston Villa. We're not going to get 3, 4, 5 clear-cut chances. That just isn't going to happen. We're going to get 1, 2 at most in any away game against the top half, and for me it's converting those chances, not necessarily creating more chances.
Then going on to Facebook, we had another comment for Too Good Too Bad from Mark Buckingham, who said Kaminsky and the fans were his too good and too bad, second to everything, nothing on target. And I think it's fair to mention Kaminsky here. Some very good saves, a couple of shaky moments as well. To of course have to give context of everything, but by and large, he was very impressive, growing in confidence, I think, each game. And you can, I think Kieran and you made different comments about this recently, but the going from Kaminsky, from Horvath to Kaminsky, I don't know which way around, but one of you said it was a big upgrade. One of you didn't quite agree, but I think it's stretching to that big upgrade now, because he's put in last 4 or 5 weeks some really, really strong performances, and he's becoming, I guess, what we were hoping he would be.
Yeah, he's everything that Blackburn fans said he would be. I think kicking certainly can do a bit of work. He's certainly not the best with his feet. And compared to like a Sluga, who was good with his feet, for example, he does need some work, and I think that's what we need to work towards as we look at recruitment in the next few years. But we're at a level now at the Premier League, one of the basement boys, let's call us. We're a club that will do anything to stay up, and clubs like that need shot stoppers, and that for me is what he is. Excellent shot stopper. He saved it from being 4 or 5 yesterday, without a doubt. And yeah, growing in confidence is spot on. He's getting better game by game. Had a few shaky moments at the start of the season, but I can't really remember in the last 3 or 4 games where he's made a glaring save mistake in terms of either dropping the ball or there was one point where he probably should have caught it rather than punched it early on yesterday. But for me, I put that down to Osho was sort of in front of him going to head it, and you just don't want to try and catch it and then fumble it. So that, for me, there's a bit of a mitigating circumstance there. But all round, really happy with Kaminsky, and for me, was man of the match for us yesterday.
Yesterday was the first time where I watched the game from home, watched it through the TV, and obviously going to all the games, as fans think we're as loud as anything, but hearing us through the TV yesterday, it was quite a proud moment. We've heard all season from opposing fans that we've been really good, and of course that's what we expect, given how much of an achievement it is to get to the Premier League and to be going to all these places. But just hearing our fans yesterday, with how dry it was, Jamie, you mentioned that at the start, it does bring hairs to the back of your neck, and it makes you so proud to be a Luton fan. But what was it like to be there yesterday?
Yeah, excellent. And I think it's hard to not get up for a game, really, when you're playing at Aston Villa at Villa Park in the Premier League. So I don't think we deserve excellent praise, because it's the context. It's what we've all wanted for so long. So it's all down to us to make the most of it. But in an atmosphere that was so sterile from the home fans, I get it. It's Luton Town at home. I get it. It's an easy home win, but you should be buzzing and jumping the fact that you're European football. You've got Alkmaar at home in a few in like a 2 weeks time. I think they've got Alkmaar at home. Like they should be well up for every game at the minute, but they were really quiet. So it was down to us as an away end to create the atmosphere, and we did. And at the end of the game, despite losing 3-1 convincingly, we were all there whilst the Villa fans were walking out, and that just says exactly where we are as clubs at the minute. We're just making the most of every second at this level, whether it's our only year for now or whether we stay up. Who cares? We just got to make the most of it.
We're going to head into a short break, but when we're back, we will give our own analysis of the 3-1 defeat at Villa Park yesterday. We are back for part 2 of today's episode following Luton's 3-1 defeat at Aston Villa yesterday afternoon. And one thing that we mentioned, and we probably over-mentioned in the preview, was the fact that Aston Villa are a very good side. We continue to praise them, and I think that display was proof in the pudding as to why we were so complimentary to them.
Yeah, I think you said off air that everything that we not necessarily feared but expected came to light. Just the way they transition, that their off the ball movement, they're a very hard team to play against. I think tactically probably harder to play against than someone like a Liverpool or Man United in terms of their runners and their structure. It is unique in terms of I hadn't watched them as in detail as obviously I did on Sunday, but the way Kamara drops into like a back three and Matty Cash plays as like a right wing and Dinya's sort of like left wing as well. Like it is so hard in terms of their on v off ball shape and just sort of all round setup. So Emery's done a fantastic job. I certainly think they have every chance of breaking into certainly the top 5, though when they are 5th, but top 4 certainly isn't out the realm of a possibility, albeit there are 4 very good sides in City, Liverpool, Spurs and Arsenal at the minute. But yeah, full of praise for Villa. But having said that, just frustrating in terms of the goals we conceded. I think first goal is avoidable. It's just a set piece play, and it's straight from the training ground, right, where Diaby across the face of goal to John McGinn, fakes it inside or outside, then slots it away with his right foot, which you think, yeah, okay, but it's well worked from their perspective in terms of training ground set piece. But if you go away to a side like Aston Villa, you need to not concede goals like that. If they carved us open, hands up, fair play, you're a fantastic side and we're fighting relegation. But that sort of set piece is annoying. And the second goal, it's sort of a second phase knockdown from Leon Bailey, who isn't the tallest. So how he sort of won that, knocks down Diaby. Good finish, to be fair to Diaby, but still loads of space in the box. And then third goal, a bit of a comical own goal from Locks. Not much he can do about it, but stopping it before source, we talk about loads in terms of don't let it get there in the first place. So yeah, I'm in between full of praise for Villa and also sort of critical thinking in terms of how we need to do things better in those moments.
It was an interesting one because I think they were technically, tactically, and probably even mentally superior. Work rate though from Luton is something that you can never question. But I found it quite weird looking at a few reports today. One player in particular, Zaniolo, I thought he saw a lot of joy. I thought his movement was excellent. He got into some very, very good positions, but he received a lot of criticism from Villa fans, more output based and more when he got on the ball. But we found it very, very difficult to contain him. Diaby as well, that double movement that he continued to do, caught out Mengi on a couple of occasions, caught out a couple of other defenders as well. It was the intelligence of their movement, which I didn't really expect. I just thought the technical ability of Diaby and McGinn was what was going to unlock us. But I think it was more off the ball and the patterns of play that were undefendable at times. But then the goals that we did concede, as you mentioned there, very avoidable when looking at them in isolation. So yeah, it's a bit of a weird mixed feeling where, you know, we can be in awe of how well Villa played and we can give them all the praise in the world, but at the same time, the moments that counted, we you know, defended quite feebly at times. It's a weird one. It's a weird one to get your head around. But going on to some of the comments that I've seen from Luton fans is that we showed them too much respect, and I think that was mainly directed at, you know, 2-3-0 down, where we continued to defend really, really deep, inviting Villa to, you know, play their football. But by that time, they'd slowed things down. They were, you know, they were still trying to break us down, but they were equally happy to keep hold of the ball and be really patient. Do you think we afforded them too much respect? Do you think that we should have tried to press higher, try and, you know, apply pressure quicker, or do you think by remaining as tightly as we could have been, that was the best way to, you know, reduce goal difference, which could be vital come the end of the season?
This notion of showing too much respect is a difficult one to navigate, because I get the foundation for it. You're a match-going fan, having travelled to Birmingham, paid the money via train or car, or got the match ticket, and everything that goes alongside it, and you want to see your team try their utmost, not from a work rate perspective, but to try and get the ball and play the football that you want to see. So I get the frustration as a fan. I'm the same. It's not nice to watch when they've got the ball between their back four, playing it left and right, and we're sitting off them and could in moments press, but that there's times where you press and then they're like 1, 2, 3, 4, and they're through on goal, and it's just like, it really is time and a place. And I think, if anything, it was a bit too much respect at 0-0. I think you're pressing, and I think it's then it's more the respect when you win the ball and then try and transition forward. I feel like sometimes players weren't looking forward fast enough. I think there was a time where Jacob Brown got the ball a couple of times and was always passing backwards, because he was almost was afraid and was too respectful of the defender to take them on or try and pass sort of through the lines. I think that for me is the element of respect that frustrates me. I think from the off the ball pressing respect, I get it. It's at the 2-3-0 sort of stage of the game. The game to an extent is done, and it's difficult to say that on the back of a Forest game where we've come from 2-2 down to draw 2-2. But even that is rare. I'm pretty sure we will not do that again this season. Probably max one other time where we're going to come from 2-0 down away from home and get a point. So if you're 2 or 3-0 down at Villa, why stress yourself and risk injury? Imagine if Morris or Ogbene went to get the ball, but then is involved in the challenge or a hamstring and gets them out of play. And then B, if someone presses, gets past beyond, and suddenly then you're a man down in that shape. I thought in the first half, tactical shape, we were as good as you can be away at side against Villa. I think first 5 minutes, Diaby got a lot of joy, as I said, against Mengi, but then we worked out, switched Osho Mengi around, and then from there on in, they didn't really create too much. There was obviously the Watkins chance that Kaminsky saved. That was a worldy save, but I thought that was offside from Diaby anyway, so I think you can probably chalk that one off. But other than that, I can't really think of glaring wow, we've been outplayed on 2 or 3 occasions here. The shape was nigh on perfect, and it's just annoying that there was the Kabore foul down on the right wing. That was it a foul? It's tough. I don't know. It's hard to see from the away ends. And then across the goal, John McGinn outside goal 1-0. Other than that, if you go in half time 0-0, you're buzzing. And then come out second half, they get a second goal within 5 minutes, and then it's game over. So yeah, it's difficult. I get people's perspectives on respect, but there's almost that bigger picture at 3-0 down. If Martinez has the ball in his 18-yard box, let him have it there. End the game 3-0 for all I'm concerned. He can't be 5 or 6.
I can probably draw a lot of comparisons to Villa throughout the way Tottenham carved through us in that first half. I think in terms of the attacking movement and the fact that they continued to carve us open, I think I can see a lot of comparisons to that. But I also think if at 2-3-0, I do think if we would have pressed higher, loads of gaps would have surfaced and they probably would have been in for 5 or 6. I think we could have been talking about a 5-6 goal loss. And as I mentioned just before we started there, goal difference could be vital this season. And as frustrating as you mentioned for match going fans, all the way to travel and not see their team press and really go for it at a certain point, I do fully get it. I do get why this defensive shape that Rob Edwards has continued to mention its importance. I can see why it is important for him. And I think the fact that we stuck to our guns and came away with a 3-1 defeat could actually be pivotal come the end of the season. I think we could look at a game like this and think, I get it now. And I think another good example of this is probably Burnley. The way Burnley play football on the ball, Premier League ability, their quality, they can carve most teams open. But they've been beaten by 3-4 goals quite often this season already. And it's that expansive nature. It is that desire to press high, which against us, it worked perfectly well. But against some of the better teams, against the Villa, you could imagine Burnley getting sliced open time and time again. So yeah, it's a weird one because there's no real right answer, and probably time will tell come the end of the season, and if it comes down to goal difference. But ultimately, I think I get it. I get it from Rob Edwards' perspective. I get it from the staff's perspective that goal difference could be vital, and continuing to work on this defensive shape will probably reap its rewards in games to come when we are under massive pressure. We'll go on to something a little bit different here, Jamie. What elements of the performance did sort of please you? Were there any performances in particular or any aspects of the game that you can take positives from, something that we can go into this rest of the harsh fixture list and really take a lot of positivity from?
I thought subs again did change the game in our favour. Not change massively as much as Forest, but I thought the subs were good, which showed a bit of squad depth. Chong is looking a bit better, still has a bit to go, but came on that left and caused a bit of not damage, but caused some interesting moments. Eli, for me, I think he's looking a handful, and really is starting to ask the question in terms of Carlton Morris now. How much longer can Carlton Morris go without causing too much of a threat before you think Eli gets his chance? And then the two again, Townsend and obviously Barkley started, but those two in particular I thought were brilliant. Barkley all game, Townsend when he came on caused a bit of threat. Lacks a bit of pace. I think there was this one time where he was through and goal and got caught up pretty easily from was it Cons or Torres. But yeah, I think in terms of the all round squad picture, I think we're in a decent shape, barring the defensive issues in terms of injuries. So yeah, I think that probably for me is the one takeaway where I'm like, okay, yeah, I think there's definitely a scope to change system or change personnel and get some more joy.
Let's go on to Gabe Osho. You mentioned the defensive situation, and at the start you mentioned the fact that you were surprised to see Osho's name on the team sheet. We were pondering over a potential 4 at the back. But he did get 60 good minutes under his belt. I think it's fair to say he had a decent enough game considering the task at hand and considering how the game played out, and completely bombarded with Villa attack after Villa attack. Probably not the nicest game to come back into, but I think it was really important in his recovery and in the process of getting back to full fitness.
Yeah, really happy. Can't really ask for much more. As you say, first game back from a lengthy injury, first game in the Premier League, away at an Aston Villa side that are, as we've mentioned before, very, very good. You can't really ask for much more. And if you were to compare the Mengi v Osho, right, Mengi got caught out on multiple occasions down that left-hand side against Diaby. You switch Osho and then Diaby had a lot less joy. And I think that just shows in terms of his ability. I think he's everything that we need in a Premier League defender going forwards. I think he's got some improvement to go, and he definitely has a higher ceiling. But for me, I've got no doubts that he can get there physically. I think he's excellent strength and pace. He's pretty agile as well. So yeah, really promising. If you look at the games coming up, we're going to need him given the injuries to Burke and Anderson and Bell. So he's a big positive for us at the minute, and hopefully he can stay fit, because if he can stay fit and he can improve, then he's going to cause Burke some issues when Burke's back as well, because that's going to be a very interesting battle. Maybe even do you move one inside and drop Lockyer, because he's been far from excellent this season so far. So when everyone's back fit, we've got some really good options at centre half in that back three. So it'd be really interesting to see when everyone's back fit who that sort of first choice back three is.
Jamie, let's talk Issa Kabore back into the starting 11 for yesterday's game. Somewhat of a villain at Villa Park. I think he wound up the Villa fan base at a few occasions. But it was a really, really interesting situation for me, because there were some parts of his performance that really impressed. I thought going forward at certain points, he looked really good. He brought a lot of energy, also made a few good tackles in good positions. But there was also some elements where I go back to a cross in the first half, a few fouls that he gave away. It was a fair bit of inconsistency in his performance, but I'm still seeing a fair few positives. What do you make of his performance as an overall conclusion?
I think his performance in that one game has summed up his season so far, really, is the inconsistencies. You can definitely see what he has in terms of potential. But he's a young boy. He's early 20s, on loan from Man City, and he's not going to be at Man City for no reason. Clearly, they see something in him. It's his first Premier League season, so you add that context. So yeah, very inconsistent at the minute, and you just hope that of all the players that you want to play through form and through inconsistency, it's probably going to be him, because if he can get a run of games going in a back five, he's one that can cause a lot of threat down that right. He's very athletic. There was a couple of occasions where you'd think he would have no chance in the foot race, because he's about 10 metres back, but it was no issue whatsoever for him. Even caught up Lockyer when he was miles ahead. So yeah, I think I can see so much positive in his potential. There's a few areas, like you said, there was a ball right in the far right from where we were in the away end, where it's a cross and he just puts it into his head, and it's just so frustrating, because that's a chance. Okay, it's not a chance on paper because it's a cross that's been put out of play, but if he puts that in the box, you've got two forwards in the box in space. That is a fantastic chance to get to score. So that's what's frustrating. But that's the difference in where Luton Town are and where Aston Villa are. Aston Villa have a Matty Cash, who is one of the best fullbacks in the league, or best. Well, yeah, he's a fullback because he plays in the back four, but he's basically plays right wing at the minute, starting for Poland. That's where we are. So you almost have to just take it on the chin, and what we can afford versus what other teams at this league can afford. But yeah, I'm very much of the opinion that we just need to play him through it, because I think we could certainly get to February, March next year, and he's playing week in, week out and putting in some very good performances.
And I think going to Kabore, I think us fans can be so output driven and so driven and remembered by the moments that he creates. But I think the thing that's impressing me at the moment is his desire to get into positions, attacking positions, his bravery. He's not shying away from making those runs and getting into those positions. So there's a lot of potential. I've got a lot of confidence that he will become consistently good, because I think he's got the attitude for it. It's just when he gets into those moments, can he bring that composure? And we have seen it in glimpses. You go back to the Fulham game, where I think from crossing positions he was very good. There was another couple of games as well where when he got in behind, he did cause problems and he did have that kind of composure, but he just needs to gain consistency somehow, and I think that's only going to come through playing games on a consistent basis. Well, that is all for today. A big thank you, Jamie, for coming on, and a big thank you to everyone watching, listening. As we said on the top of the show, the giveaway that we've been dangling in front of your faces is finally going to be live as of this week. So just as a reminder, there's a free part prize, which is 3 lots of LTFC print from Matthew J. Wood. There's a 2023-24 shirt of your choice, home, away, third, you choose. And then we've also got the it's a prize that a lot of Luton fans have got or have wanted. It's the Championship Playoff Final CFAX mug. I guess that game is going to be forever in our memories, but why not have it printed on a mug? As we said at the top of the show, it's the biggest giveaway we've done so far. Certainly the most impressive one we've done so far. So make sure that you are subscribed to Oak Road Hatter on YouTube. You share or retweet this on social media. And if you want to get your name in the hat for a second time, tag 3 people in the comments for that extra entry. That leaves me to say the next 2 games are Liverpool at home and Manchester United away. What a time to be a Hatter. But until next time, it is goodbye from us.